Hey guys, Thomas the Slow Jr. here, aka Mustached Tom, here to review the movie The Lego Movie 2, the second one. So, for those of you who don't know, I did a review of the Lego Movie and it was pretty enjoyable. So I figure I'd probably enjoy the Lego Movie 2, the second one, probably hit right where the first one left off, and that was pretty accurate. So with that being said, let's jump right into it with the whole recap section. And in fact, this will contain spoilers, I guess, for both the first one, if you have not seen it, and this one as well. So, this movie starts off right where the first one left off, with the younger sister of this brother character being introduced, being told that she can play with some Legos and play with her brother. And with that, within this Lego world, these newcomer Legos were joined in with the older brother. So, within this context, Emmett, the main character, makes this heart-shaped logo piece and offers it to the other Legos, that have been eagerly introduced and have a different type of functioning that proceeds to kind of interfere and start to attack when the other Legos are like becoming defensive. So these new morphed Legos take over, and the DC Lego characters go off, and they make another old Green Lantern joke, and I'm just gonna say it, that is way too old to be making a Green Lantern joke. We have already had that covered ever since Deadpool, and it wasn't even that funny that back then. We get it, the Green Lantern movie sucks. Acknowledging that it sucks over and over again is kind of already gotten old ever since the reviewers have already said it. They're, accepted that. And finally having movies explain it to us again, even in Deadpool again, I will say even by that point to me it was already old, and hearing it again here, again, just, it wasn't necessary to hear again. I mean, look, if you're gonna say your movie sucks, just make a new one. You're making better other movies like Aquaman now and Wonder Woman now. If you give Green Lantern another chance, who knows, you might actually succeed. So there you go. There's your free idea for you if you're listening, you DC people who make movies. So anyways, we're introduced now to Apocalypseburg, the main landscape of where all our Lego heroes were, is starting to change. It's starting to gruffen up. At least everyone else's. Emmett, the main character, has essentially remained unchanged. So we get an updated version of the "Everything Is Awesome" song, and it's still pretty catchy and whatnot. So, sorry for the cut. Anyways, getting back to where I was, yes, I just talked about how they re-amp the "Everything Is Awesome" song, and then Emmett catches up with Lego Batman. And then meets up with Lucy, our secondary character, or our secondary lead, I should say. So Emmett talks about how he's going to have he's had these nightmares about what is going to happen in losing everyone to this particular futuristic thing that they introduced really on in the movie. So he proceeds to, after their little moment of edge, I suppose, Emmett shows Lucy his house and where they're gonna sit together and stuff. And they proceed to check out this flying object, which ends up being the ship that ends up attacking them. So the two of them flee and drive off and crash inside this little building. where they get reinforcements from all these other clear reference to what was it? What's the movie? Jeez, I'm gonna have a tough time remembering all the references here, but damn it. Anyway, movie insert said movie reference where various vehicles come out. Mad Max Fury Road. There it is. I just had to think about it for a second there. And they all try to attack while Lucy and Emmett chill inside. But one of the star Legos from the other side makes its way in, gives the sad face. Emmett lets it in, and then this new character is introduced. But other stuff is happening, and then that happens. Anyways, we are introduced to General Mayhem. This other woman character who says that she's looking forward to essentially the top, builders or whatever, the top people, looking also forward to essentially or uniting the land into these two lands to be one. So, Emmett opens the gate. As I mentioned, which is what allows Mayhem to get in and do all this talking about all this stuff. So Lucy tries to step in, saying, giving Emmett his credit, and then she's like, they do the whole man thing, which I don't know if was an intentional burn on the Emoji Movie, where they did that obvious something man or whatever, and then they do it here. I don't know if that was a burn on it or if that was an unintentional reference, but whatever. At any rate, so after Mayhem makes the claim, takes the 5 people, that being Lucy, Batman, the Lego cat, which I don't remember her name, the space guy, and the pirate guy. Those 5 are the ones that end up being taken. And Emmett thinks about his nightmare some more. Meanwhile, Mayhem shoots a heart at one of them, and then Emmett, afterwards, makes a ship, tries to transform it, and his little transformation sequence fails on him, on Mayhem. So Emmett has a brief talk about the real world. And as he's making this speech to all these other Legos, these other famous Lego movie references, including other Justice League members and other characters that they could get. They even make a joke that said that Marvel didn't get in on this, apparently. I guess that's a reference to something that happened even in the first movie, because there's no Lego Marvel characters in this movie or in the first movie at all. It's all DC. So Emmett gets left outside by himself. So he builds himself a rocket, makes his way outside. And then we are introduced to this character who I'm just going to call her Queen. Just Queen for short. I know her name's not that exactly. It's like Queen whatever, something along those lines. And we see that this movie quickly now also becomes a musical number as she sings about not totally being evil, but Lucy in particular is so convinced that she is extremely evil because the whole assault thing that happened. So she's trying to convince the others that there are paradises for each of them, and for whatever reason wants to marry Batman. But Emmett travels, and as he's traveling, the world is getting mixed up. We see a transition where it changes into this stick on a thing, and it's traveling, and then we see it screw up even more, and then appear, where he meets this new character named Rex. Rex is this character who gets this super fast intro, has all these dinosaur Legos as his posse in this lab, and starts to talk about his backstory and about how he was essentially dropped off, and we get pretty clear hints pretty early on about what's happening here. But again, I'll leave that for later, for spoiler stuff. So Emmett and Rex, they help each other, and Emmett wants to grow in the process. He wants to toughen up, as he keeps referring to it as, because that is what Lucy had said earlier in the movie. So Mayhem scans something about Lucy, and we learn that she hid a small heart in her little compartment, and that she was a changed character. Again, I feel like that is a very clear reference to the Emoji Movie with the whole princess thing, and then she ended up being a hacker or whatever, and then she ended up being changing. Very similar style, just with characters that you care a little bit more about here in the Lego Movie. So again, I'm not sure if they were directly trying to mock the Emoji Movie some more, but it definitely feels like it. So the others give in. They feel like their lives are getting fulfilled, and Batman is really struggling as well to break free of it. But Lucy is also getting her own treatment, and her hair returns to its more apparently natural blue color. We see the one blue streak on her hair. She apparently has more blue streaks of her hair. Apparently that's her more natural color. But again, she wanted to become more edgy, as she puts it, putting her hood back up, saying, she wanted to get into that. So we see that Rex's raptors gear up and get ready, but some of his raptors get caught as they make their way towards this planet. So Emmett busts through, and Rex is allowed to clear a path via him punching the ground and destroying. This is apparently his power. Again, this is a very clear reference, that being with Emmett having the ability to build and Rex having the ability to destroy. Essentially, Emmett wants to learn how to do this in order to continue his so-called training into this new little point. So, let's see, I got a little lost in my notes there for a second there. Apologies. So all of that happens. Meanwhile, blah blah blah. Here we are. So they end up, that being Rex and Emmett, end up in this Syria area where he refers to this area as Heck. The heroes, like Superman and Green Lantern, are all glittered now, and they are all singing this La 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 song. Sorry about that. That's another cut. Worst review ever, obviously. Sorry. Not enough apologies to go around the world to apologize for having to do that a second time and get lost again and having to clearly admit when I fucked shit up. So again, I deeply apologize. Anyways, where was I? Something about singing and going la la la. I have to look in my notes, see where I was, and hopefully stay on the path and not get interrupted again. Oh boy. Anywho. So, Lucy is now hearing a song that is called "The Song Is Gonna Get Stuck in Your Head," as it is literally called. Those are literally most of the lyrics, repeated over and over again, mocking the pop genre particularly, and its very catchy and repeatable lyrics. But she puts headphones on as she's moving along, trying to find the others, seeing that they have all chillaxed and have been, according to her, brainwashed. So, meanwhile, Rex and Emmett are trying to continue to flee, and Lucy runs into Bruce Willis as a Lego character, which is, I guess, voiced also by Bruce Willis, who's in the Vents, which is a reference to Feel Free or Die Hard, I can't remember, or just Die Hard. I think it's just Die Hard. I was thinking of Live Free or Die Hard for some reason. I just got mixed up, but I think it's just Die Hard, and that's a reference to. Anyway. So Rex pulls this convenient plot device out, which he literally calls a plot device something or other, and Emmett punches a hole in the ground, where they fall even further into the ground and end up where these baby logos are, and we cut to Queen calling Mayhem and then talking about their plans and how they're gearing up for this wedding. So Emmett and Rex get led further in, and it makes a sudden cut to "let's go to the lobby" joke, which is their transition into Lucy hiding under a ship and sees Emmett and Rex and ends up joining them. So Lucy and Emmett start talking, and Lucy sees that Emmett has changed significantly and is kind of disappointed in the change that he is now taking on. Again, very akin to the Emoji Movie. I feel like this is just a direct, this is what the Emoji Movie should have been. I feel like this is what this movie was trying to do very cleverly, is going look, see, this is how you do it. This is how easy it is, Emoji Movie. This is how easy it is. So anyways, after making their third Emoji Movie reference in the same movie, we move on, and I lost where I was again because So yes, about being disappointment, and then the Batman meets with the Queen, and the Queen cleverly starts to sing about how she would rather be in love with Superman, and Batman gets his own little verses about how him being him is super cool, and how he suddenly decides to offer himself, and it's a pretty clever, more mockery of Batman, because Lego Batman did that plenty of good, and if you have not seen that movie, I also highly recommend the Lego Batman movie. So, he offers himself in marriage, and meanwhile, Emmett, Lucy, and Rex go into this lava-like zone where they see that the wedding cake is being prepped. So, Emmett is starting to doubt Lucy because she had her hair changed, and she's talking more about, she wanted to be happy and not as dark and brooding as she was at the beginning of the movie, and Rex had planted doubts in him about her, but says that he will continue to trust her for the time being. Meanwhile, Queen and Batman actually start to fall for each other legitimately after, we kind of see like it almost wasn't going to be like that. Like, it's almost like the movie is very cleverly tricking you, but obviously also being pretty obvious, also breaking some very good cliches while building up new ones. I do appreciate when a movie can do this. So, Lucy bumps into one of the guards, and meanwhile, the Queen and the Batman are going up, and Lucy proceeds to start fighting Mayhem. Meanwhile, Emmett and Rex start to climb up, and Emmett, his visions start to change about what he's planning to do. Punch the top of the tower. This is very clearly a reference to Disney's Wreck-It Ralph. Get to the top of the cake, punch down, break it, Wreck-It Ralph. That's a very obvious reference. Very glad that they made that reference. Good job, Lego guys, for giving some Disney love right there. No association, which is cool, because Disney has Marvel and Legos have DC. Look at that. Wow, what love. If only DC and Marvel could finally combine forces. I feel like I think they should start to push for that a little bit more in movies. If just keep nudging each other. I love it. Just keep doing it until it actually happens. Just like I keep nudging for Pokemon versus Digimon. Just keep nudging. Never stop nudging. It'll happen when I'm dead, I'm sure. Anywho, getting back to the movie, and I get lost again in my worst review of all time. Worst reviewer ever. Look at me go. Anyway, so where was I? Oh my god, I am legitimately lost. Let me see. Let's see. Lucy. Yep. Queen. Oh, yes. Hold on, I'm not actually quite there. So, we see, yes, Lucy ends up fighting Mayhem, and they have their little sequence. Anyways, we see that the Queen changes into that heart, and we see that Lucy sees this, and we see that it's very akin to the same heart that Emmett, oh my god, I keep wanting to say Emmett, had created at the very start of the movie. So it was a very clever way to bring that back and show that this world that was created by the sister, who, I'm just going to say that at this point, was very heavily influenced by the brother character. In fact, we can actually see these two parallels in the cover itself. We have Emmett and Lucy, which is very interestingly on her side. So, that tells me that she probably originally belonged to her at some point, and she had gotten taken from the boy, and then the boy changed her to have the darker hair, and that's why she's all about the dark and brooding. So I think that's actually the backstory, and they never explicitly say that, by the way, so show don't tell. Brilliant. Fucking nailed that one. We also have the cat and the horse, which the horse is actually one of the variants of Queen. We have our guy on top of that, Rex, and on top of that, on the female side, you have that's mayhem, and Batman's caught in the middle because he's the one being married off between the two worlds. He's the one that is uniting these two worlds with his marriage proposal. So now that I've diagnosed the poster of the movie, I got lost in my notes again. This is the worst review I have ever done, and I'm having a blast doing it. I'm having a blast, just falling apart at the seams here. So, yes, let's see, clean, yep, changes into the heart, as I mentioned. So Lucy asks, who is the bad guy? She's starting to piece together that everything's starting to work out in around this area, and immediately we conveniently cut to Rex. Oh wow! Spoiler alert: Rex is the villain of the movie. So, Emmett. Oh my god! I keep saying it. Emmett still wants to continue on with his mission, so he goes on ahead with his mission. And Lucy goes ahead with kind of seeing that this is all working out now. And Emmett goes up, and Lucy sees this and stops him, and he notices how her hair's now changed to its original color. So Emmett starts one of his punches, breaking apart some of the pieces, and proceeds to run past her. So Rex grabs Emmett, and they proceed to move forward. And then they get separated at one point, and then Rex tells Emmett that he is apparently a future version of himself, Emmett, from the future, who somehow went back in time using various different movie references that all involve time machines, including the DeLorean, the Hot Tub Time Machine, and two others that I can't recall off the top of my head. And it was all built and placed in a place where the sun would pick it up and kind of reinvent this character, I suppose. So it shows him, and it shows all the things that he's been doing. That includes picking up the Dino Army, the whole going back in time bit, and we learned that the phrase that they learned earlier in the movie, that being Emmett, was really a phrase about the mother coming in. So a mom comes in, or Armageddon, so our mom comes in was supposed to be what they were actually, the actual phrase, but they misheard it as something else because apparently the words become blurred, I suppose. So, we see that the sister had just wanted to play with the older brother. Meanwhile, Rex rejects this whole thing, and then kicks him under the dryer. That being Emmett, and we see that the mom has put her foot down, literally, stepping on some Legos in the process, but also figuratively telling them to take away the Legos. So the two of them start to place their toys in the Legos in these baskets or cases or whatever. And this is the Armageddon that they were referring to, this abyss that they get sucked into. So Emmett gets stuck, and we see a fake the end credit sequence, where everyone is all sad. And then everyone starts to sing a rendition of "This is awesome," but singing now "This is not," "This is not awesome," but all we have to do is believe, and we can make it even more awesome. And Lucy even joins in on this song. So somehow this song makes enough noise for the brother to hear this. Meanwhile, Rex and Emmett are battling with each other, clashing into one another, literally. And Emmett gives one of his speeches about opening your heart is one of the toughest things to do, and I couldn't agree more. Again, very akin to the first movie, having that message really hit. And yeah, hitting it a little bit harder than it needs to be hit, but you know what, it's still solid enough. So we see the brother pick up Lucy specifically and then check in on his sister. And then we continue on with the everything is awesome transition with when friends and family are involved. So Emmett and Rex continue their fight, but the team finds their way, the remaining other toys, the Lego toys, fight off the Rex army. They're making their way. Lucy makes his way to Rex as well. So Rex is hit by a heart from Lucy, the one that she had hid away, and now touched Rex, which causes him to vanish into the nothingness, the ether, no longer existing. And this pulls out, Emmett and Lucy. And thus we see that the brother and sister are now officially playing together, having fun together, and their worlds now collide. They have united. So Lucy proceeds to bring Emmett to now their shared home, where she shows that she was one of the cover people of the Everything Was Awesome song itself. And the movie proceeds to end. And that was the Lego Movie 2, the second part. I really enjoyed this movie, much so like the first movie. Yeah, the time travel part was a little bit weird, but I think they did that more so to fit in the references, more so. When you try to fit writing around trying to fit something in, it usually tends to not work as well as it could possibly work. But in this movie also, in this case, actually in the first movie as well, kind of indicated that there was some life within these Legos. So I do think that the whole time travel thing kind of gets away with that, because of the whole Legos actually having some sort of life that happens outside of the people moving them around. So I think it ends up being okay. I did enjoy the music aspect. I felt like this movie really follows the Emoji Movie, and I feel like it was a really heavy knock against the Emoji Movie. Again, 3 really obvious references in terms of like what characters are doing, particularly following around Lucy. Really follow the Emoji Movie, and I feel like that was I have a really heavy indication that was very intentional, with all of the other references that are made in this to DC actually being in it, and to Marvel, which wasn't in it, to the time traveling references that were made in this movie, to all the more Batman jokes that they can throw out even after the Lego Batman movie. With all of those references, I wouldn't be surprised if they were clearly trying to knock down the Emoji Movie down even more pegs. Pegs being in Legos. Anyway, bad jokes aside, yeah, I feel like this is what the Emoji Movie should have been from the very get-go. And I think I even said that about the original Lego movie. I forget when, like, how far apart the first Lego movie was and the Emoji movie was. So I forget how far apart those are, but anyways, a very clear indication that this was falling very strongly on that premise. This, to me, shows that that premise could have easily worked if, you know, the people behind the Emoji movie cared a little bit or a lot more about what they were actually making. And this is exactly what this feels like. It feels like people who really care about what they are making, making sure that they have a very clear message and that the message hits home a little bit harder than it needs to, because, you know, younger people are going to be seeing this. Obviously, with it being Legos, you have the old adult demographic coming in from all the references, so you have a nice balance between kids and adults who are probably going to enjoy this movie. I definitely enjoyed it. So yeah, it definitely has its mockery. It's over. I feel like it's a little bit heavy, but I think it ends up working in the end. Especially when they decide to hit a little bit harder on the emotional parts with the family reuniting at last. And interestingly enough, this movie ends not with there's going to be a third one. This movie just kind of ends. And if they decided to end the Lego movie here, I'd be totally fine with that. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'd be equally as interested to see how they would pull a third movie out, but I feel like, again, this does feel like a very solid ending to this set of movies, so I don't know. It's very debatable about what they could possibly do for a third movie, but that's a wait and see, I suppose. But I mean, they've had success with the Lego Batman, Lego Batman movie, the Lego, with this one as well. Even to me, I could see them doing it. It would just take some some jiggling around and figuring out what they would move on from there. So yeah, very interesting movie. Definitely enjoyed it. Solid 7 out of 10, I think. In the link in the description, I'll go ahead and slap on the first review of the first movie. Beneath that will be a link to my Discord. Please feel free to join it. And beneath that will be my Patreon page. If you felt I did good, then please feel free to donate. I desperately need it. And if you enjoyed this review, then please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, do the other stuff I just mentioned. And until next time, everyone, I cut out before I said bye-bye. So this is the fourth cut out of me saying bye-bye. Bye-bye.